This week's pictures is probably the least interesting set of pictures since I started covering them. Seriously, even less interesting than the ones during the Direct. Except for the last one, but we'll talk about that later. This is NSBD! This picture shows absolutely nothing new, just yet another picture that is supposed to be there for humor instead of information, much like Rosalina sleeping. But still, at least it doesn't try to pretend to be informative like Diddy's hammer. The only thing that's kinda neat is we get a perspective of how big Gigamac is compared to the other characters, but still, we could tell that from the footage in the Direct. Oh well, let's move on. Another picture that is highlighting something that has been shown before that we may have not noticed, but when I did notice it before, I found it pretty neat. I have stressed before how much I enjoy how the development team is putting emphasis into the detail that no one really notices, but again, we have seen this before and therefore there's not much to talk about, just like the last picture. Oh well, let's move on. I feel like this is one of those pictures that some will love while others will not care about. Unfortunately, I am in the latter party, as to be quite honest, I never really noticed that you could turn in an opposite direction and the backs of the characters will be showing. However, once again, I do appreciate that Sakurai is putting effort into the visuals of this game, and unlike the last few pictures where he has stressed this one seems to affect the gameplay. I feel even though I never really noticed that there were no mirrored sprites, this will affect my enjoyment of the game in a huge way that I never would have realized if this wasn't pointed out. But still, even though I can't imagine how it will affect it, I still can't wait to play the game and see what these mirrored sprites feel like. Sakurai also posted a picture of an example with Kirby and Bowser, though it is nothing new, just showing yet another example. I have nothing to say, but here's a quick look at the picture. Woohoo! Team battles! Did anyone ever play team battles? I mean, I guess I did once on a blue moon, so this is nice that I am not forced to being a certain color that I do not want to be. I am worried though that these outlines will not be as distinguishable as colors, and I will forget what team I am on. But quite honestly, most of my team battles would have friendly fire off, so I would never hit my ally anyways, and I know where I am. But still, it seems the outlines is only a 3DS thing for normal battles, but will the Wii U include them for team battles? I'm thinking yes, and perhaps even for normal battles instead of just teams. Sakurai stated that you can turn the outlines off and on, and even though the Wii U version doesn't need the outlines, why not include them even for normal battles? I'm curious if you can turn team battle outlines off. I believe you will be, but it will be harder to keep track of what team you are on. But still, that's your problem. Sakurai is just giving you options. You can still even be the color of the team you want. It's all about the customization. What's better for you? Now this is something I did not see coming, that Ike would be returning. Many, including myself, thought that the Fire Emblem characters would constantly be replaced with a character from a more recent game. But now that I think about it, what evidence did we have to support this? I mean, sure, Roy got replaced, but to be honest, I always believed Roy's removal, along with the other characters that did not return for Brawl, were more for a gameplay purpose than a relevancy purpose. Roy was a broken character. He was pretty much Marth's clone with the more powerful attacks. But nonetheless, this is a topic for another time, and therefore I digress. Back to Ike. This is one of the few returning character pick of the days that do not emphasize any sort of change, and I think Ike will play the exact same unless we get future pictures that highlight differences, which we might. Even the second picture of him here talks about his relevancy in the Smash Bros. Series instead of any sort of changes. This is bittersweet because personally I thought Ike was fine the way he is, and has no future games to base an updated moveset on. But still, it doesn't make his return feel fresh or different, and this bothers me because I personally do not feel he deserves to be back. Hopefully though that they get another Fire Emblem representative as well from a newer game, because the more newcomers the better, and if someone like Chrom gets shafted because of Ike, I won't really be happy. And besides, if Star Fox can have 3 characters that play the exact same, why not have 3 Fire Emblem characters that all have swords? Thank you all for tuning into this week's NSBD. Even though most of the pick of the days were boring and I didn't really talk about it much because I honestly didn't really have much to talk about. But still, the Ike picture was an interesting finish to a boring week and therefore reflects on it being more interesting. But I still think this was even less interesting than the pictures during the Direct, because if you recall, the Direct was great, but the pictures weren't so great. Anyway, tune in and subscribe for more future episodes highlighting the miiverse pictures, as well as posting them to YouTube for those that do not have access to it. Thanks and goodbye.